Over the past several weeks, we've been telling members of Morpheus Crypto that the tight volatility contraction in Bitcoin and Ethereum that's been in place since late June would soon resolve itself with an explosive move in one direction or the other. The longer a volatility contraction takes place, the more powerful the eventual breakout and volatility expansion. However, a volatility contraction does not predict which direction the move will be, only that there will be a powerful move. And last week, we finally got resolution to this volatility contraction with a sharp move lower in Bitcoin on August 17th. So, right now, the question on the minds of many traders and investors is the current sell off in Bitcoin an ideal buying opportunity, or does it spell trouble on the charts? Since we trade what we see, not what we think, we're leaving our opinion at the door and we're going to focus exclusively on what the charts are telling us. So let's go ahead and dive in. Before we do so, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on another Morpheus Crypto video. As swing traders, we primarily rely on the 4-hour and the daily chart time frame for making our decisions when to buy and sell. However, it's important to look at longer term time frames so that you can understand where the trend really is in the big picture. So for that, we've zoomed out to the weekly chart of Bitcoin. So you're looking at a weekly chart, meaning that each bar here represents a full week of price action. And the chart starts back in the beginning of 2020, right at the COVID lows. So this candlestick right here is from March of 2020. And notice that the low is actually 3,000, just around $3,800. So Bitcoin went from $3,800 all the way up to 60,000 in the course of 1 year. Since then, of course, Bitcoin has been in correction mode, starting from the highs of November 2021 throughout the 2022 bear market and recovery throughout 2023. So what does this mean? Well, let's see what the trend lines have to say. We'll draw a trend line from the low of March 2020, and we'll connect it here with this anchor point. And notice that when we do so, that we got an anchor in November 2022, as well as December 2022. So we've got a valid uptrend line. It's been in place since the lows of March 2020. And surprise, surprise, Bitcoin is still above that uptrend line. So this is why I say it's important to have multiple time frames for your analysis. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day volatility and miss the big picture of what's really going on. Bitcoin is still trading firmly above its uptrend line from the current March 2020 lows. And that's significant because it means that even though we might see shorter term weakness, in the longer term, we should come into major support here soon. In fact, the red line that you see here is the 50-week moving average. Notice how the 50-week moving average is soon going to converge with this uptrend line. So that's a very significant support. The 50-week moving average, notice that back in 2021, it acted firmly as support when the price pulled back, acted as support again, and acted as support. Finally, we broke down below it, and then that support became resistance. Remember, in technical analysis, a prior level of support becomes resistance after the support is broken. So when the price tried to bounce up and reclaim the 50-week moving average in March of 2022, it acted as resistance and the price moved lower. Now, back in March of 2023, this year, we finally popped back above that 50-week moving average, which means it now is acting as support once again. So when the price comes into this 50-week moving average, which is soon going to converge with this uptrend line, that could be a relatively low-risk buying opportunity for Bitcoin. Now, remember, everything we say in our videos is not financial advice. This is on what we see in the charts. So this major area of support that you want to keep an eye on the weekly chart is right around the 24,000 level. You can see here right around that trend line and the 50-week moving average. So it's right around 24,000. Now let's zoom into the shorter term daily time frame of Bitcoin. Taking a look at the shorter term daily time frame, we've left that uptrend line in from the weekly chart. So this is our trend line going back to the March 2020 lows. And we can see that we're still firmly above that level. However, on the daily chart, we see another trend line that has developed recently, and that is the trend line from the 2023 lows. So if we draw that trend line, we can actually see that there's 3 total anchor points of this one. And this is a shorter term trend line because this trend line here, this yellow, in fact, let's change the color to make this easier to identify. So if we look at the yellow trend line, that is going back to the March 2020 lows, whereas the white trend line is from the lows of this year. So what's happened here is we've got a breakdown below support of the uptrend line from the 2023 lows, from this year's lows, but we're still above the longer term uptrend line. So that kind of puts Bitcoin in an interesting position depending on the time frame that you're trading. Now, there's a few other key points that we want to look at here. We've got some horizontal price support that's really important, and that's coming in right around that prior swing low from back in June of this year, and that's going to be right around the 24,800 level. And we can see here that that level, if we scroll back further, we can see that not only was that resistance in February, but that was also resistance all the way back in August of last year. So remember, prior resistance becomes the new support after we break above the resistance. So therefore, that's a really important support level on the daily chart, the 24,800 area. We would not want to see a violation below that, below those highs. However, if we do dip slightly below it, we've got this longer term uptrend line to catch it. So an undercut below that would be okay, but we definitely wouldn't want to see the price go below, let's say 23,000, which would put it below this weekly uptrend line as well. Since last week's sell-off, the price action has been trading in a tight sideways range with a bullish hammer candlestick forming yesterday in Bitcoin. So we'll go ahead and zoom in further to the 4-hour time frame, and let's see what the charts tell us. So on the 4-hour chart, each bar represents 4 hours of price action. We can see that from the August 17th lows, we bounced, and the prices were trading in a tight sideways range for about 4 days. Now, yesterday, we got a brief sell-off all the way down to a low around 25,300, but importantly, we held above the low of the August 17th low, so we formed a higher low here on the 4-hour chart, although we did violate this prior low of the consolidation. So this is actually good. This is called an undercut because we dropped below the obvious support level of the 4-day consolidation. That absorbs supply by running stops. And then the price reversed and formed a bullish hammer candlestick. And now we're back up in that range. So what this tells us is that we've got a bit of a tug of war going between the bulls and the bears in the very short term here. So for swing traders like us, for our trading time frame, it's not ideal right now. There's no clear trade in one direction or the other because of this price action that we're seeing. But if you zoom out a little bit longer for position trading and look at the daily or the weekly chart, then it's a different picture. So whether or not Bitcoin and the crypto market is a buying opportunity now really depends on your trading time frame. So as swing traders, we're kind of right now just monitoring the price action, waiting for the lower risk opportunities with a high risk reward to set up and present themselves. Basically right now on the 4-hour chart, we want to see a potential move back above the 26,300 level. You can see here that this is basically the high of the consolidation of the past several days. So we'd want to see a move back above this level, which would represent a higher high on the 4-hour chart. So we'd have a higher low here, and that would be a higher high. So that would be a constructive start to a potential short-term bottoming action in Bitcoin. That being said, keep in mind, again, if we go back out to the daily time frame, that any kind of a bounce is going to run into resistance pretty quickly because Bitcoin is now firmly below its 10, 20, and 50-day moving averages. So the first point we're going to run into major resistance would be the 10-day moving average, which is falling fast, but currently right around 27,000. So if you're looking to play a bounce, be aware of that 27,000 area. You'd want to look to take some profits into that resistance pretty quickly. If we do get above the 27,000 level, we've got more resistance at the 20-day moving average. And of course, all of this prior supply here, all the way up to the 50-day moving average around 29,200. So it could be very difficult for Bitcoin to get back above this prior uptrend line from the 2023 low. But that's okay because we've still got our dominant longer term uptrend line in place from the past several years. And that's what we're really keeping an eye on is the longer term trend. Although that's not valid for a swing trading entry, it tells us the big picture of what's really happening in the market. So back to this 4-hour chart, we see that Bitcoin is trying to recover, and we see the buyers stepping in after yesterday's dip, but the resistance is still significant. So if you're a swing trader, probably the best plan of action right now is just sit on your hands. Be patient, wait for the low risk setups. That's what we're doing, and we'll notify our members of the Morpheus Crypto chat room with a trade alert if we spot any low risk opportunities. But for now, our trading portfolio remains 100% cash. In our Morpheus Crypto videos, we typically look at Bitcoin as well as leading altcoins that are showing high relative strength, but we wanted to focus this video specifically on Bitcoin because most of the market is tied largely to Bitcoin. So I wanted to show you a big picture of where Bitcoin's at right now and some key levels that you can keep an eye on both for shorter term and longer term. So again, hopefully you found some insight with an answer to the question of, is Bitcoin a buying opportunity or is it time to bail? It really depends on your trading time frame. Again, if you're a short-term swing trader, probably best to not be in the market right now. Just sit this one out until we get some more clarity on the market's next move. But if you're a longer-term investor or position trader, don't forget on the weekly chart here that we're still in a dominant uptrend from the 2020 COVID lows. And even if the price action goes sideways here for a few more weeks, that's going to allow this, both the 50-week moving average and that uptrend line to rise up and meet the price. Again, keep an eye on at 24,800 level. So short term, Bitcoin not looking so good, but longer term, still solid. And that could lead soon to a potential rally and significant bounce in the short term as well. We hope you found this video helpful and insightful with your crypto trading operation. And to learn more about how Morpheus can help you with your crypto trading education and trade ideas, head on over to morpheustrading.com and click on Crypto Picks. Also, be sure to drop your email address in the form on our website so that you can receive free crypto analysis and trade ideas every day. See you in the next video.